Rome was the greatest military power of the ancient world. Its legions conquered territories stretching from the Atlantic Ocean to the deserts of the East. Kingdom after kingdom fell, often within a single generation. Yet not all enemies were easily broken. North of the Danube River, beyond the comfortable borders of the Roman world, lived a people who resisted longer than most, and fought harder than Rome expected. They were not nomads, they were not disorganized tribes. They were disciplined warriors, shaped by harsh land, unified by strong leadership, and willing to confront Rome directly. They were known as the Dacians, and defeating them would require one of Rome's most costly and determined campaigns. The Dacians inhabited the Carpathian region, a land dominated by mountains, dense forests, and narrow passes. This terrain shaped everything about them. Large armies could not move freely. Supply lines were constantly exposed. Every advance carried risk. The Dacians built fortified settlements on high ground, connected by complex defensive systems that used elevation and visibility to their advantage. Where Rome relied on roads and open battlefields, Dacia offered concealment and resistance. In this land, geography was not an obstacle, it was a weapon. By the 1st century BCE, the Dacians were no longer merely scattered clans. Under the leadership of Burebista, they became a unified kingdom. Burebista achieved what few leaders in ancient Europe managed: the political and military unification of rival tribes under a single authority. His rule extended across a vast territory, from the Black Sea deep into Central Europe. This was not a fragile alliance. It was a centralized power capable of enforcing discipline, controlling trade routes, and fielding large armies. Roman sources took notice. For the first time, Rome recognized the Dacians not as a regional nuisance, but as a serious geopolitical force. Even Julius Caesar is believed to have considered a campaign against them, a campaign that never took place due to his assassination. After Burebista's death, the kingdom fractured, but the precedent had been set. The Dacians had learned that unity was possible and powerful. Dacian society valued strength, courage, and loyalty above all else. Warriors held high status, and combat was not merely a necessity, it was a defining feature of identity. Their most feared weapon was the phallux, a long, curved blade capable of devastating damage. Used with both hands, it could cut through shields, helmets, and even armor. The impact on Roman forces was immediate. Roman commanders were forced to modify their equipment, reinforcing helmets and adding arm guards specifically to counter the phallux. This was rare. Rome did not adapt its military doctrine lightly. The Dacians forced them to. The Dacians believed deeply in the immortality of the soul. Death in battle was not seen as an end, but as a transition. This belief created warriors who did not fear death, and such warriors are difficult to intimidate. Roman writers noted the intensity with which Dacian fighters engaged in combat, often pressing attacks even when defeat seemed certain. For Rome, psychological dominance was a key element of warfare. Against the Dacians, that dominance was never fully secure. A century after Burebista, the Dacians found another extraordinary leader. His name was Decebalus. Decebalus ruled at the height of Roman power, and he understood his enemy well. He used terrain, deception, and ambushes to devastating effect. Under his command, Dacian forces defeated Roman legions and destabilized entire provinces south of the Danube. At one point, Rome was forced to do the unthinkable. It paid tribute. For an empire built on dominance, this was humiliation. No other northern enemy had forced Rome into such concessions. As long as Decebalus ruled, Rome's frontier was not secure. And Rome does not tolerate insecurity. At the beginning of the 2nd century, Rome committed fully. Entire legions crossed the Danube under imperial command. Bridges, roads, and supply lines were constructed on an unprecedented scale. The objective was no longer containment. It was elimination. The fighting was brutal. Mountain warfare favored the defenders. Ambushes were constant. Losses were heavy. Decebalus resisted with skill and determination, retreating when necessary, striking when Rome overextended, prolonging the war far beyond Roman expectations. But Rome possessed one advantage the Dacians could not match: endurance. It could replace losses. It could sustain long campaigns. It could afford years of war. Eventually, Dacian fortresses fell one by one. When defeat became inevitable, Decebalus chose death over capture. The resistance collapsed. After the conquest, Dacia became a Roman province. Its gold mines fueled the empire. Veterans were settled. Roman law and culture spread rapidly. Yet the Dacians did not vanish. They adapted, intermarried, and endured. From this fusion emerged a population that would survive long after Rome itself began to decline. Rome conquered Dacia, but it never erased the people who had once forced it to fight so hard. History remembers Rome as unstoppable, but true power is revealed by resistance. The Dacians were not the largest enemy Rome faced, nor the richest, but they were among the most formidable. They forced Rome to adapt, to commit fully, and to fight longer than it expected. That alone is enough to earn their place in history. History often reduces great struggles to a few names and dates, but behind every empire, there are peoples whose stories are slowly forgotten. The Dacians were one of those peoples. They stood at the edge of the Roman world, resisted one of the most powerful empires in history, and left a legacy that still echoes across Europe today. If you value historical stories told without exaggeration, without modern myths, and without spectacle for its own sake, then this channel is made for you. Here we focus on the civilizations, ideas, and conflicts that shape the world we inherited. If you found this video meaningful, consider subscribing. It helps the channel grow and allows these stories to reach more people. And if you have thoughts, questions, or perspectives of your own, feel free to leave a comment below. History is not finished. It continues through discussion, memory, and understanding. Thank you for watching.